Trigonometric functions of quadrantal angles. Evaluate, if possible, the sine function and the tangent function at the following four quadrantal angles. So, the first one we're going to evaluate is when theta is 0. Theta is 0. You have 0 degrees here, 90 degrees here, which is also pi over 2. You have 180 degrees here all the way around. That's pi in terms of radians. Then you have 270 degrees, and in radians, that's 3 pi over 2. So we're evaluating sine of 0 degrees, and also we're evaluating tangent of 0 degrees. Well, at 0 degrees, you have a point, and the name of this point, with this being at 1, the point is 1, 0. This is your x, this is your y, okay? Now, so you have your x, you have your y, and r is always 1 when you're dealing with the quadrantal angles. So going back to our rules that we talked about earlier, sine of theta is y over r. So if sine of theta is y over r, your y of this problem is 0, your r is 1, therefore sine of 0 is 0. Tangent, recall, is y over x. So tangent is y, which is 0, over x, which is 1. So tangent of 0 is also 0. Right? Next, let's look at when theta is 90 degrees, which is pi over 2. 90 degrees is this angle straight up here, going from theta, or this point right here, going from 0 degrees to 90, okay? This point is 0, 1. This is your x, this is your y. Remember, labeling this point, you're not on the x-axis anywhere, so you're at 0, you're up on the y at 1. So, again, we have sine of 90 degrees and tangent of 90 degrees. Well, sine is y over r, tangent is y over x. Remember, r is always 1. When you're dealing with 0 degrees, 90, 180, and 270, okay? So y over r, y is 1 over 1, so you get 1. So sine of 90 is 1. Tangent of 90, y, which is 1, over x is 0. When you have 0 in the denominator, your answer is undefined. So sine of 90, tangent, sine of 90 is 1, and tangent of 90 is undefined. Next, let's find sine of, you may see sine of pi, or tangent, or tan of pi. I'll kind of write it in radians this time. It would be no different if it was sine of 180, same as sine of pi. So going 180 degrees, which is pi, you have a point here. The point is negative 1 on the x, y is 0. And again, r is 1. So sine of pi is y over r, which is 0 over 1, which is 0. Tangent is y over x. So y is 0 over x is negative 1. We still get 0. Okay? So there we have tangent of pi is 0. Sine of pi is 0 and tangent of pi is 0. Now we could just as well find cosine, cosecant, secant, but the problem wanted us to find the sine and tangent function. And then last we have the 270 degrees. So you start here all the way around 270 degrees, which is also 3 pi over 2 if we write that in radians. Okay, with that being said, sine of 270 is y over r. So here you have x is 0. You know, we're on the x-axis. You're down at y at -1. So that would be -1 over, and again, your r is 1. Okay? So it'd be -1 over 1. So sine of 270 degrees would be -1. And last, let's find tangent of 270 degrees, which is y over r. Tangent of 270 is y over r. Y over x, excuse me. So that's -1 over 0. -1y. X is 0. So therefore, any number divided by 0 gives you undefined. So sine of 270 is -1, and tangent of 270 is undefined. Now, I want you to also look at this that I have here, okay? I've drawn this for us just so we can talk about and go back and reinforce what we've just done, okay? When we had the point at 0 degrees, we found in the previous example I just worked, sine to be 0, okay? So I want you to realize that when you have the point 1, 0, actually, this first number is your cosine value. The second number is your sine value. Just a minute ago, when we found tangent and sine, when sine was 0, it was 0. That's the same 0 from the point 1, 0. Okay? So at 0 degrees, cosine is 1 and sine is 0. Now let's remember, tangent equals to sine over cosine. So if my sine is 0, my cosine is 1. 0 divided by 1 would give you 0. So tangent of 0 is 0. Okay? And that's what we also found. So this is just another way to reinforce this. This is a quick reference that I use a lot. So at 90 degrees, again, the first number is your cosine. The second number is your sine. And we could reinforce that. We found earlier that sine of 90 was 1. So see, that works there as well. Over at 180, the first number here is your cosine. The second number is your sine. Let's reinforce that with what we did earlier. When we found sine of theta was 0, it's also telling me right here when we do it this way, sine of 180 is 0, which is also at pi, okay? And then we have the last one, down at 270, the first number is the cosine, the second number is the sine. Earlier when we found sine of 270, sine of 270 was -1 also. So that's just a quick reference for you to use to find sine and cosine and tangent and the other trig functions when you have 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 270.